rolling, and yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about, my friend. A lot. Oh man, and I forgot my paper upstairs too. I wrote down. I actually wrote some stuff down, bro.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
well, I can talk to the audience. I can talk to the audience while you go up and get it.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah. We'll roll into this, and then yeah, I'll either do that or I'll text the wife and have her drop it off to me. One or the other. Yeah.
But we'll just do it at the break.
Sounds like a deal. I can bounce up there then. I think she's out with the dog, but that's all right. We'll get it figured out. No problem, bro.
Yeah.
Ow, that hurt. Yeah, man, I mean, soon as Carl hit me up, it was like, hey, you want to talk to Dexter tonight? Let's get Dexter on. I'm like, dude, hell yeah. That's not even a second guess, because everybody's been going, what's going on, man? What's going on? We haven't heard from you guys. You guys haven't been on. You haven't. I'm like, you know what? I gotta get it figured out. I know I've been down in the weather here a couple of days with everything that's been going on, and so
yeah.
Brother, go ahead. I mean, give us. We ain't talked to you in a minute, and so go ahead and give us what's up, Dexter. Dexter Taylor, what's up, man?
Nothing much to report on my side, right? Like, we're still we're gonna find out next year if the appeal gets heard in the spring session. If we get on that docket. But that's more or less it. I have to be honest with you. I don't spend too much time thinking about the appeal, thinking about when we're going to be heard, because again, we're probably going to have to go through all the New York State appeals courts. That's going to take a while, and that's not in our control, right? This is this is something that we're talking about. So things are going to take how long they take. So I've just been doing what I always do, reading, working out, praying, talking with the brothers, doing my job. I still got my job in the school building. Just following along with the news headlines. My mom plays me, YouTube videos from the conservative kind of podcasting space. And so I keep up with stuff. I've been keeping up with the Second Amendment news from Mark Smith and Four Boxes Diner. 2025 was really a very good year for the Second Amendment in terms of cases filed, cases heard, decisions rendered, federal precedent set. So I'm just hoping 26 is an even better year, and I'm really hoping that the Democrats don't pick up any House seats this coming November. That's but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. And of course, as we mentioned before you started the live stream, the latest thing is just looking at what's been going on in Minnesota.
We're gonna get into that, but let me give you a few shout outs here. John Collier. Matter of fact, it's funny he mentioned it, but John and I was on the phone a couple nights ago, and he actually was asking, what's going on with you. So John is on here with us tonight. We got Dr. J. He put us out on the screen. He reposted this, so he's here tonight. He said, "Hang in there, brother. Right. We've got you, even if we have to." He said, "Don't read the latest part." Oh, sorry. I was just about to read the last part out loud. He goes, "Don't read the last part out loud." All right, I got you. I got you, Doc J. Doc J is in the house with us. Roni is in the house. I appreciate you, Roni. We appreciate everything you have done, brother. Roni has been a big opponent, a big guy who's been out there for you from day one. So, Roni, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Is this Ronan? Is this Ronan?
Ronan, yeah.
Ronan?
Yeah. He's there.
Yeah,
so he's up with us tonight. He's up hanging out with us tonight. So that's awesome.
Yeah. We're in good
awesome.
Company.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you is hanging in. You're hanging in there. Everything's good. You haven't pretty much, like you said, heard anything yet on the. So we don't really have anything to report on the appeal right now. Is what you're saying?
On the appeal? No. I mean, again, the earliest we might have something to report is spring of next year. We're going to find out next year if we get on that docket.
Okay.
Spring docket. And if we don't, then it'll be the next docket. It's like that's why I don't really spend too much time thinking about that because again, I can't control it.
Okay. So, how's your mom and dad doing?
They're doing very well. I talk to them just about every day.
Okay.
And, they're doing well. I talk to my daughter on a regular basis. She's doing very well. I talk to my ex-wife. She's doing very well. So yeah, we're just hanging in.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. And you're doing good. Everything mindset.
Yeah. I mean, that's nothing to worry about. I've doing a lot of reading lately.
Okay.
Just burning through books like mad.
Okay.
So that's been good, and I mean, the number one thing is that New York State, of course, has a whole host of problems. It's they got a personnel shortage. Well, they had a personnel shortage since the aftermath of this corrections officer strike. So this facility is getting hit pretty hard. So the last few weekends it's been pretty much dawn to dusk lockdowns, with a few exceptions. And programs are not running. Everything's operating at a very kind of reduced capacity in this facility.
Okay.
So that's difficult. But again, the good news for me is that because I have, my job is in the school building. If the school building is open at all, then I go to work. So that's good. But yeah, a lot of guys who have vocational programs, they're basically stuck in themselves. They can't go to class. And I don't, it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon because, of course, the governor is not really interested in solving problems and corrections. And she's expressed that I'm interested in uncovering any of the issues in the correction system when she's, up for re-election this November. So that just is what it is, But, we just keep on keeping on, that's all.
So, is there a written outline of your real New York incentive available online anywhere? Anything that we can push out there for the people?
Oh, you mean the real New York political platform? I don't know that there's anything written that's out there, but I'll talk to Carl because, of course, I sent him. He's got the latest document, right? So. So yeah, I'll talk to Carl and we'll see if we can get something up because, as you know, and maybe some of the audience doesn't know, I've been thinking for a long time about politics in general, conservative politics, what that means to me, and a kind of conservative politics that goes beyond kind of worshiping a personality or even just something for a party. Like what's really important to us in a place like New York, a city like New York, and a state like New York. And so I came up with a political platform called Real New time is that if you're a conservative anywhere and you're running for office, take a look at real New York. Let's talk about it, because the fact is that, as you and I have talked about before, a lot of conservatives, run for office as if they're out of ideas, right? They run for office. Maybe they are out of ideas, but they run for office as if they have nothing to say, as if they have nothing to say to people who live in cities. As if there's nothing to talk about except crime and welfare. And my argument is that, populist conservatism, really, really holds promise, not just for rural America, not just for suburban America, but for people in American cities as well. And the American cities matter a lot if the populist conservative revolution is going to really take hold. So that's kind of why I came up with Real New York. So yeah, I'm going to talk to Carl and see if we can get something, the latest document up so people can look at it and talk about it and so on and so forth.
Oh, sounds like a deal. Just Me said, thank you, Rev. No, Just Me, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Seriously. Doc says, with a few adjustments and proper ambition, of course. Wait a minute, Doc. Is there an independent conservative? Is there such thing, Doc, as an independent conservative? I've never I've never heard that.
Talking to one.
You're independent conservative? I did not.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for clearing that up then. I've never. I thought you was a straight out conservative.
Well, yeah, I'm a conservative who's independent of any party.
Okay.
That's what you mean by independent conservative, then yeah. That's what I am. Hell yeah.
So before we get into my state, because we're going to be there for a while, Mondani. Did I say his name right? Go. What? You got to give me your 2 cents. You got to give me your 2 cents on that.
Yeah. Mamdani, my 2 cents is this. The good news about his tenure is that, at least for the first year, is that New York City does not get to single-handedly make its own budget. Got to clear the budget with Albany, and this is a holdover from the days when New York was actually bankrupt and had to get bailed out. So in terms of his stupidest political ideas.
Right. Say that again.
Probably not going to fly.
What did you?
I said the most stupid of his stupid political ideas.
Okay.
Are probably not going to fly because I can't see Kathy Hochul signing on to a lot of tax increases in a re-election year. I don't think that's she's going to do that.
Free buses. Free transportation.
Yeah, I mean, that's dumb. Yeah, that's just dumb. I mean, here's the thing. The problem with him isn't just that he's a socialist. Some of the in the history books that I've been reading, and I've been reading a lot of them.
Okay.
I actually happened to cross some books about, for example, the early socialist/communist movement in Russia.
Okay.
I read a biography of Lenin, for example, that was very illuminating, right? There were people out there, okay, there were people calling themselves socialists who had actually thought quite hard about things like production and specialized knowledge and expertise and agriculture. They'd at least thought about these things. Whatever you say about their ideas, they had given the matter some thought, okay? The real problem with Zoran Mamdani is that he has not thought about these things. He hasn't, he thinks like this is a thing that would be good. People would like this, and so we should do it. He hasn't thought about the fact that, it takes money to actually run the subways, to run the bus, to run the transit system. You have to pay for fuel. There's no free fuel. There's no free maintenance because you have to pay the guys who maintain the equipment and so on and so forth. So it is not ever really going to be free. Okay, he has not thought about this. That's one problem. The other problem is that I don't think he's even really since he hasn't really thought that much about socialism. Because if he were a real socialist, then he'd be interested in the people controlling the means of production. Because if you go back and read Marx, he was all about the people and the means of production. Okay, so here's a question. Why hasn't Zohar Mamdani said anything about, for example, helping people who want to go to trade school? Why hasn't he said anything about helping recent trade school graduates? Say, okay, the city will lend you money to buy your first set of tools, and you'll pay us back, once you get your first few jobs. And that, in other words, because if you're a trade school graduate, if you're a welder or a carpenter or what have you, and you own your own tools, well, then you own the means of production.
True.
Right. Okay. So how come he never talks about that? How come he never talks about making people more? How come he never talks about making it easier for New Yorkers to work from home? How come he never talks about buying sewing machines for women who are on assistance when they're home taking care of kids? Listen, if you we'll pay for you to take a sewing course, and we'll pay for a sewing machine and the first and initial batch of materials, and then you'll pay us back over time, as you go out there and do whatever kind of work from home, right? That's the kind of work people could do from home. How come he never talks about changing the zoning laws to make it easier for people to work out of their homes and generate prosperity from their homes? Because he's not really interested in any of that. He hasn't thought about it, okay? The timeline he's on is, let's give stuff away and people will like that. Well, that's not a grown-up way to think about economics. It's not a grown-up way to think about politics. And it's not a grown-up way to think about the life of a city like New York. And that's why, in my opinion, he's a failure before he even starts working.
Well,
because his mindset is wrong. He doesn't think about us as like actual human beings who can be productive, who want to work and take care of our families. He doesn't think about that. All he's thinking about is, moving cash from here to here and moving calories from there to there. But the thing is, Reverend, if that was the solution to poverty, the problem would have been solved by now. Moving cash and calories around it, and the problem hasn't been solved. But again, he's not able to kind of to think in those terms. He's not there. He just doesn't have what it takes.
But I don't think he wants people to help themselves. I think he has that mindset that if I do everything for you, then you will be dependent on government forever, and that's the mindset that these socialists have. It's not about, just like you said, why hadn't he said, you know what, I'm going to get some of these brothers that's selling dope on the corner, I'm going to get some of them in the trade school and show them that they can be a plumber and make just as much money, a better living, and the cops don't have to go up on side their head, and then we ain't got black people out in the streets running around screaming and yelling because some nigga out here selling dope. Right. I mean, it's that simple, man. But Mamdani,
no, he's not going to do that because he doesn't respect us enough to do
that. Exactly. That's what
New Yorkers enough to do that.
Right.
That's right. Exactly. And that's the thing. The thing I feel most of all, right? Forget about what he calls himself, socialist. I don't care. The thing I feel most of all when I hear him talk is profound disrespect. It's disrespect. All he wants to talk about is what he's going to give us. Why are you talking?
Exactly. That's the part that drives me crazy, brother. That's the part. Hold on. That's it. I don't mean to cut you off. Just remember what you just said. Because I got to throw some shout outs here. Some people. Moni, where's she at? Where did she go? Moni retweeted the space. Range Mind, there he is. Range Mind podcast. I haven't talked to this brother in a while. Yeah, Range Mind, he retweeted. I haven't talked to this brother in a while, man. We're gonna have to. I keep trying to get him on. When you're on, man, just me, retweeted to space. I keep trying to get him on. Vlad,
Mhm.
Vida. I like that Cracker Barrel thing he got going on here. That's pretty funny. I wish you could. I wish you could see that he got a Cracker Barrel thing going on there. But Range Mind. We got to get him on here, man. So you can.
Yeah, I've got to do a show with Range Minded Podcast.
I have not got in touch with Steve in a minute, so I'm gonna have to reach out to him. I haven't been, like I said, I haven't been feeling good, so I've not reached out to a few people that I have to reach out to. But I just wanted to people are throwing up, love signs and things for you, man, and I just want to make sure tonight I get these shout outs to you because we really missed you, man. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I missed it. I'm gonna tell you how bad it was. Now, when my wife reminds me that she don't see me at certain times on Sundays, either I'm getting on her nerves or she's going, "Where is Dexter?" I've got a feeling it's "Where is Dexter?" Not me getting on her nerves, but she reminded me a while back that, hey, aren't you supposed to be talking to Dexter right now? So, yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I miss y'all too, man. I miss talking to my people and chopping it up about conservative matters and all that. Yeah, I miss it. So it's good to be streaming with you, brother. It really is.
Yeah. So that's my mindset because we almost had, and I'm not getting into Minneapolis yet. I'm not getting into Minnesota yet because like I said, I still want to hear where you think. What do you think? Where do you think all of this? I mean, at the end of the day, you said what you just said was some of these things that he promised, and he did promise a lot, right? Mm-hmm. You said it's not going to work, right?
Yeah, not going to work
because he's not, like you said, he's not going to have the money to do these things.
Exactly. Correct. Exactly. And again, it's like. But it's not just a matter of money. It's his mindset is wrong, right? Again, he doesn't have a fundamental respect for this is a problem with people who are. Well, I mean, it's funny because if you
have 1 minute left.
If you're really a socialist, you're supposed to be a materialist. You're supposed to be non-religious, and you're supposed to think that nothing else matters but kind of the material conditions of the people. Now we know that's not true. You and I, Rev, know that man does not live by bread alone.
True.
But he's there in his thinking. So, in terms of solving the actual problems that people have, they don't understand what a person actually is in their essence. And you're never going to get a handle on how to make a person, what it means to make a person's life better. I just heard the 1 minute warning, so I'm going to drop and call you back, and we'll continue chopping it up.
I'm going to run upstairs real quick while we're doing this here. So do you, and then I'll get back with you on the backside.
Sounds good. All right.
All righty. So Dexter's got it. So for those who are new, this is something that we tried to do. We had been doing at. A few things fell off. I know I've been sick. I know Carl's been in the hospital, and we pray for him and his young family. And Dexter has been gone. But tonight we got Dexter straight from the prison. So those who don't know, Dexter Taylor is our political prisoner who is right now sitting in prison because the state of New York don't understand what the Second Amendment really mean. They gave this here man a 10-year sentence for putting together a firearm, something that he has the right to do. No if, no ands, no but. But all of a sudden, New York decides that they want to use this man as an example. It's pretty funny to me how they take a black man. And the reason I say this is if you did not understand, or if you wasn't on board with what has been going on with his case, you would see why you put race in here, because it was about race. I mean, when you change the judge, that's what they did. So they changed the judge, put a black woman in there. I wonder why they did that, Democrats. I wonder why would the Democrats do something like that? Because they foul. That's why. They foul. That's what the problem is here. And that's what got him. But hey, Dexter's going to jump back on here in a second. I don't want y'all to go nowhere, because I've got to run and grab a piece of paper. Well, you know what? I'll have my wife bring it down. That's what I'll do. I'll text her. I don't want to mess. I hate messing with the phone when Dexter. That's why I tell everybody when Dexter called, don't call my phone, because I don't want it to mess up or anything. So I don't like. Hold on. I'll do this. I'll put you on mute for a second, because I gotta yell upstairs. I gotta yell upstairs. Oh, she heard me. Oh. Well, hello to you too. Anyway. I am a lucky man. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, so hopefully Dexter will get back with us here pretty soon. It usually takes him a minute because he's using a computer from his prison cell there. We do have some people online. I want to make sure, like I said, I just want to make sure that I shout out everybody tonight. I see everybody was saying that they missed him. I think we all missed hearing his voice, hearing him talk and things of that sort. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Rev. Appreciate that. All right. No. You got. I tell you what, Range Mine. Come to Minnesota, and I'll take you where I get my suits from. And I guarantee you, she can make you look just as good as I do in a 3-piece suit. I guarantee you, she's that good. He said, New York understands perfectly well what the 2A means. And it's scary. And it's scaring them shitless. He said it. No, he said it. I'm just reading what I got on the screen. I know people get upset. You can't be saying those words, Rev. I'm just reading what is on the screen. So, Doc J said that. But we're going to get into some topics on tonight, like we always do when I talk to Dexter. I mean, we usually talk about a lot of things that's been going on in the news and things of that sort. And yes, we're going to get into exactly what's going down here in the state of Minnesota. All the stuff you guys been hearing and the way it's been coming out and the way it's been leaking out and things of that sort. I'm gonna clear some stuff up tonight. It's gonna piss some people off because y'all was thinking something totally dead. No, I know it is, because anytime I tweet it or I put it out there, somebody get upset because they believe something that they heard from somebody who's not even in this state. That's the big part that's been cracking me up about this whole thing. Because I sit there and I laugh and I see people tweet things out, and then I sit back and I go, that didn't happen here. That didn't go down here. That didn't happen here. But because a lot of you guys are not here, you don't know that. You have to go with whatever you see online. And that's why a couple of days ago, I said that, and if you know your Bible well enough, if you know your Bible well enough, what I'm about to say, you have to say I'm right. Or you can prove me wrong, one or the other. But I said Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it, is just like Nineveh before Jonah got there. Hold on, let me say that again. For those who understand or have read their Bible and understand who and what I'm talking about, this one is going to be pretty easy for you. I said Nineveh, I said X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, is just like Nineveh before Jonah got there. Now, sitting there going, what is Rev talking about? Here's what I want you to do.
That, Rev?
Okay, so I want you to write down Jonah, and then I want you to go read Jonah. And you will understand exactly what I just said. And after you're done reading Jonah, I guarantee you're going to agree with exactly what I just said. All right, we got the man back in the house. The man is back in the house. He said, hold on one second. He said, Rev, can you please ask if he got my... So, just me. Did you write just me? Did you write just me on... Hold on one second. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. So y'all got to give me a minute. I'm not all that computer savvy. My grandson comes down here. Oh, and Guns of Liberty, thank you very much for retweeting this out. So just me said he sent you a letter. Hold on one second.
I think I talked with just me on a space with Carl about the letter she sent me.
Oh, okay.
If that's what she's talking about. Yeah, she wrote me last year. Late last year, I got that, and we talked about it. So, hey, just me. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for amplifying. Now she wrote me since then. I didn't get any letters from her since then, but I did get that. Letter from her.
All righty. But thank you very much, Just Me. That's Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we appreciate that letter. Thank you so much
for
pushing that out there.
I love receiving that.
So what? Yeah. So what happens, Dexter, when when the people of New York, everybody who's running around there celebrating this guy, swearing up and down that he's the next coming to, Peter and Paul. What happens when he don't deliver, though, brother?
Well, they're going to be like, they're going to be disappointed. I mean, disappointment is part of politics, right? So that's not, sure. The history of politicians not delivering on promises is the history of politics, right? So, that's all going to happen. They're going to be like, okay, this guy is not. The real problem is this. By the way, when we say the people of New York, I want to be careful as always. Remember that the turnout for this election was around 40%. Right, so that is around 40% of eligible voters in New York turned out and voted. Okay, so what he got was a minority of New Yorkers, a minority of New York's eligible voters. Okay, that's not the same thing as New York rose as one and decided they wanted a social. It's not like that at all, right? So, the thing we have to remember is that one, good people have to decide to run for office, and two, people have to show up and vote. Okay? People, it's fashionable to be very cynical about politics. It's fashionable to say the whole thing is a game and so on and so forth. In my opinion, it's obvious that your opinion matters, because if your opinion did not matter, politicians wouldn't be lying to you all the time. So that's my take on that. But yeah, people will be disappointed. Hell, look, people were disappointed that people who supported Mombani were disappointed when he went and spoke to Trump. I guess they thought he was gonna jump on Trump's desk and curse him out, do something like that.
Right.
And it's like none of that happened. And a lot of people felt the kind of way about that. Oh, I would encourage those people to kind of grow up a little bit. Like, well, right? So, again, at the end of the day, people will be disappointed. But the real thing is this: what's more important than any single politician is that we have to really kind of start getting back to the basics of what we think about the state and the citizen and what job, what is the state's job, what is the government's job, what is the municipal government's job, and what relationship is that government supposed to have with the citizens? Is it the job of our municipal government, right, to make sure nothing bad ever happens to us? Is that government's job? And are you sure you want a government like that? Are you sure? Because there's a trade-off, right? When you're a kid, it's the job of your parents to make sure nothing bad happens to you. But the flip side of that, you don't have a lot of freedom. You're a child. Okay? You're someone else's responsibility. You can't do what you want. You can't go where you want because you're a child. Okay? And when you become a man, you're supposed to put away childish things. And among those childish things is the idea that someone else, some other earthly being or some other earthly institution is going to watch out for you and keep bad things from happening to you. Are you sure you want a government doing that? Are you sure, for example, that you want government making sure that no one ever eats a bad meal in a restaurant? Because so we have to control the restaurants more because what if someone has a bad meal? Well, are you sure someone wants to control? Well, you can't sell something. You can't make food, for example, and sell it to people, sell it to your neighbors because what if someone gets food poisoning? We have to make sure that all these ways of making a living are illegal except if you get the permission of the government because we have to protect you from all bad outcomes. Are you sure you want a government that works like that? I think not. But, if not, then we have to really talk about, how can we shrink the list of things that government claims to be its business? And listen, that's, like life is risky, life is dangerous. Good things happen, bad things happen. And the fact is, at the end of the day, if we really want the ability, right, to turn our skill sets and our assets into prosperity, then we have to insist on a government that is at least willing to get out of our way while we do it. Have to.
Yeah, because
if we want to be completely dependent, right, then that's a different story. But I don't think most of us do want to be completely dependent.
Right.
So,
Doc, even hear what Doc J says. Doc J says, he said, this experiment in self-govern fails if we fail to self-govern ourselves.
Yes.
Yes. Right?
Yes. That's right. Yes. That's it. And, again, governing yourself means that you can make mistakes. You can get it wrong. The bad things might happen. That experiments might fail. Well, what's the alternative? Is the alternative to say, no, we want the government to make sure that no experiment ever fails? Is that the solution? And by the way, if our experiments, right, in turning our assets and our skills into prosperity, if those experiments that we run in our own lives succeed, then it means what? It means we're going to profit. Okay, do we want people running government who think profiting means getting away with something? Because that's how people like Zoran Ramdani talk, and that's how they think. They talk and think as if making a profit is getting away with something. We have to make sure people don't get away with profiting from things. Is that what you want? And I would argue that's more important than whether Zoran Ramdani calls himself a socialist or a communist or a democratic socialist or whatever. Is figuring out, well, what does he think about this stuff? Has he thought about it at all?
I don't think so. I
don't think so.
I think that thought I think that thought in his head of I can just give away everything and everybody's going to be happy and the world's going to be happy and the world is going to celebrate because New York started giving away. I do believe Portland, Oregon was giving away pretty much everything. And that place over there it's so bad. You think Minnesota's bad. I don't ever want to get to where Portland is. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all because they decided to give everything away.
Well, listen, the other thing, by the way, I have to say, it's not just dumb lefties with dumb ideas grabbing the reins of power. Again, it's also that we don't have, right, in many of our cities, we don't have conservative thinkers, okay, who are thinking right stuff, right, get up and decide to run for office. And then we don't have people who are willing to get up and get involved in the political process. I keep telling people the turnout in these cities tends to be very low in elections. And that's a problem, because if people just get disgusted with politics and stay home, then 20, 30% of the eligible voters show up and vote, and all a Zoran Mondani has to do is win more than half of that 20 or 30 or 40%, and that's what's been happening. What was the turnout back when Eric Adams became mayor? It was about 20%. 20% of New York's eligible voters turned out to vote in Mayor Adams' election. Okay? And so he just won a majority of that 20%. That does not mean that New Yorkers rose as one and say, yeah, we want this guy to run us. It doesn't mean that at all. So we need to, and that's one of the reasons I started working on the Real New York platform, because, far from just wanting a particular person or a particular party to gain power, I want us, I think it's important for us as citizens to really think out what we want our government to do, how we want it to work, how we want our society to work, right? And we have to take things seriously, and maybe we haven't spent too much time thinking about before. We even have to take seriously the things that the problems that people like Mondani and his followers say they have with capitalism. Because in many cases the grievances are real, and the problem is that the solution is terrible, right?
Yeah.
There's lots of ways in which the way we do capitalism could be better, right? There's lots of ways in which capitalism fails, because capitalism is a system and systems fail. All systems, right?
That's
and so
true.
we have to acknowledge the way in which these systems fail. But the problem is that the Mondanis of the world think that the best way to deal with the failure is to do away with the system. And that's madness, because no one thinks like that about any other system in their lives. No one thinks if their car has a problem, right? They got a car problem, they take it to the mechanic. No one wants the mechanic to simply burn their car to the ground and say, okay, just get a new car and everything will be great, right? No one is going to invite a plumber to their house if the sink is leaking, okay? And watch him take out a sledgehammer and cock a stance like he's going to smash the thing to pieces. Get out of my house, freak. What are you doing? I just want you to fix the thing, right? But somehow in the realm of politics, certain of us decide to shout and cheer when people say, yeah, let's just smash this system that's not working. Well, if that's your answer to every system that's not working, then you're not qualified to manage systems. Because we don't have the time to rebuild every system that doesn't work from scratch, or every system that has flaws from scratch. Because every system has flaws. And so one of the things the conservatives have to do is really take things seriously, to take the grievances people have with, for example, capitalism seriously. Look, the fact is that, if you put speculators in charge, if you put usurers in charge, then the system will not work that well. Markets will not work that well. Conservatives have to get comfortable talking about that. We know that it's bad for government to try to set the prices of things. We know that's bad. Okay, but the fact is that big capital, if it gets big enough, can also set the prices of things. Can also make markets not work right. We know that when countries decide to go socialist, one of the first things that happens is they have shortages of things that they really shouldn't be running out of. We know that happened in Venezuela, right? They went socialist, and what happened? They started running out of sugar, which is madness. The country is carpeted in sugarcane. Right? How are they running out of sugar in Venezuela? Well, because they chose a dumb economic system.
Right.
Okay. But the fact is that, when you invite, again, usurers and speculators and monopolists into the game, you also get shortages of things that you shouldn't run out of. And you also get fake energy crises, and fake housing crises and all these things. It's part of our housing crisis in New York that real estate speculators are running the show in New York. Maybe that's part of the problem. Just like part of the problem is that it's illegal to build enough housing in New York City. Kind of like we have to talk about these things.
Well, that's
the worst thing for us to do is pretend like these problems don't exist.
Yeah, but what wasn't that another thing he promised? He promised house stabilization.
Oh my God! Oh,
so how?
God.
So he's gonna.
Yeah,
I mean, do they even have room in New York City to even build anything, or they got? I mean,
well, yeah, sure.
He's going to take.
Yeah, that's a good question. Look,
no, he's going to take from the rich, right? Who is basically book rolling New York, and he's going to give to the. So when the rich people leave New York,
right? And what?
And what?
Then you're going to have a smaller tax base to support the same amount of infrastructure and so on and so forth, and it's just going to get worse. Well, yes, that's true. Now let me just point out something. I don't think, because a lot of conservatives, or when they hear some ideas like Mamdani has, they turn around and say, well, the rich are job creators. Well, that's not true either. In other words, because you have a lot of money in the bank doesn't mean you're creating jobs. But my thing is this: one good solution is to make job creation the best tax shelter a rich person can find. That's a way to do things. You're like, look, no one likes to pay taxes, okay? And as for people with a lot of money and a lot of assets who pay a lot of taxes, they're going to want to find ways to reduce their tax burden. Well, all well and good. So why not figure out a way to change the tax code so that the best thing a person with a multimillionaire can do to decrease the tax burden is to go out and create some jobs. Like, in other words, create the incentives, incentivize what you want. I mean, the thing is, you're supposed to tax the things you want less of and incentivize it and subsidize the things you want more of. So in New York City, what do we do? Well, we've made, over the years, creating new housing and getting on market very expensive. Okay, so we have a housing crisis. Of course. It's illegal to build enough housing. Talk to anyone who's tried to even renovate a brownstone, and they can tell you what a pain it is, how the city always has hand out for something. And God forbid you find an asbestos tile in your basement or whatever. You got an oil tank you need to remove, right? So again, if Mamdani was thinking about this, if he really thought about this stuff, he wouldn't only be thinking about how do we help people who fall on hard times. He'd also be thinking about, well, how do we help people who are trying to make stuff, who are trying to add to the wealth of our society, who are trying to, rent out rooms in their house, renovate a brownstone, build a new building, start a new business, right? Get a food truck going. Many of these things are very expensive. Do they have to be that expensive? No. But again, but thinking like that requires a certain fundamental respect for other human beings and a certain respect for our ability and our need to actually get out there and make our way in the world. He doesn't think about us like that. He thinks about us like dependents, like serfs, like children. And that's the problem.
Oh. I can't wait to see. Especially, I can't wait to see what he does with the police department, how he treats them, what he. because I know how socialist. I mean, I've been in the room with these knuckleheads, right? I've talked to them. I've had to deal with them here, right?
Yep.
We had a socialist running. We had a socialist Somali running, Somalian running here for the governor of Minnesota. And I stood up.
Oh, he ran for. I thought he ran for mayor.
A mayor. Yeah. He ran for mayor. So if you'd have been here and seen what I actually did, I mean, I brought black churches together. I sat out. I had a conversation with Mayor Fry over the phone, and I let him know, you're not my cookie, really, but you're better than what's trying to come through the door, right? Allegedly, I'm let me make sure I put that out there because I don't want nobody coming in getting mad at me, but certain people had affiliation with all this fraud that's going on here in Minnesota. So let me, did you guys have anything else to say about Mandani in New York?
No, I'm done with him.
You
I'm done with him for now. For now, I'm done with him. Let's talk about Minnesota. Let's talk about that set of jokes we got over there. Jesus.
Oh my goodness, brother. It is, if, like I said, if you're not here, half of the stuff that you see half of the stuff that I see online, I just look at it and shake my head and go, who in the hell is reporting this crap? Who is, let me go back. Let me go back a little bit so everybody can catch their breath for a second, right? Because like I said, coming out of New York and then hitting you guys with Minnesota so quick, you know. So anytime, and here's what I want people to understand, right? Because coming out of Minnesota, because it's brown people, and because it's the Somali community, we want to make a big deal out of it, right? So let me make sure y'all understand something. When the Catholics and the Lutherans bring immigrants over to Minnesota, they are getting a bag. So let's make sure. See, that's the part that a lot of people do not understand. Is money is flowing back to these nonprofits, and nobody's talking about it.
That's right.
How do you think we got these big churches that we got here in Minnesota? There's a reason they're big. The money that they were making when watch this. When the Hmong community came to Minnesota, right? Just watch this, because a lot of people don't understand this, and they just listening to what they're being told, and a lot of the stuff that they're being told, it's really not correct. So when I'm gonna bring one culture, one group of people, and then we'll walk it. So when they go over, they get the Hmong people who was going through a war and everything. They couldn't speak English or anything. So when they come here to Minnesota, how do you think they get around? They need translators. They need transportation. They need housing. You think they move? You think they come from over their country, and all of a sudden they got rent money the next month? Hello. You think they're going to get a job tomorrow? They can't speak English. Hello. People are put in place to help these people come over here, drive them around. There's a transportation fee. People have been, for years, been getting money for driving these people back and forth to the hospital, driving these people back and forth to grocery stores, driving these people back and forth here. People are getting money. There is cash. Listen to me. There is cash money that has been being dripped around Minnesota for years. There's a blueprint. Listen to me, people. There's a blueprint that's already been set up. This is how things work when the Hmong come here, when the Asians come here, when the Africans come here, when the Nigerians come here. There is a blueprint that is set up through these churches. And these churches are making damn good money at doing this. So you go, whoa, why didn't they do what the Somalians? Because the Somalians got greedy. They literally got greedy. The Somalians took the blueprint. Now, if the Somalians had done like all these other immigrants that come over here, you would have never heard a word, not one word, because
the low profile.
That's right. That's right. Everybody else that came over here, a low profile. They didn't make noise. They didn't get in trouble. They took their money and they bought businesses. And go to St. Paul. Go over to St. Paul. Look at all the businesses that they own over in St. Paul. You think they didn't get money to buy the kickbacks from the money that they was getting? Y'all are crazy, man. Y'all, because you're not here, you don't get to see what I see. You don't get to understand what I understand. Only thing you get is what they tell you, and they only tell you what it's going to take to rattle you up. Every immigrant set that has been in this state of Minnesota has done the same thing that the Somalian community did. The only difference is the Somalians got greedy. You can't go to the BMW dealer. Let me show you something. You can't go to the BMW dealer every Friday and pay cash for a car, for a $70,000 car. You would think that somewhere, red flags, people. Nothing was said. You can't go to a real estate agent and buy and put $900,000 on a $2 million house. Red flags, people. Somewhere there's going to be red flags. Somebody knew this was going on. Somebody understood what was happening. When they got a place here, okay? And they got a place here, right? That they made sure that black people couldn't get in there. They literally raised the prices of the houses so black people could not get into this here area. That's a fact. That happened right here in the state of Minnesota. So they don't call it redlining. We don't call it redlining. What we call it is pricing out. They price us out of the housing market. Because black people don't have that money like that. All of a sudden, Somalians are buying homes in these communities, full $500,000, $600,000 homes. To the point that now this community, this very community that I'm talking about, they got 2 mosques in the community. 2. What y'all don't understand is when they decided to move in 90, 91, 92, when the first group of Somalians came here to the state of Minnesota, down there where they call Little Mogadishu, off on Cedar, that was all black people in the area.
You have 1 minute left.
Gentrification. They moved all the black people out of there. There's a bar that's been on. Go ahead and do that. Dexter, and then
I'm gonna drop on the way back.
okay, and now I'll get you. I'll finish up on your way back.
All right, cool.
The caller has hung up.
But we're gonna finish it. So he said, my cousin is there and said they been infiltrating for you. Yeah. We're gonna get into we're gonna get into that. He said, what about the fraud and Tim Walz? Show you. But I'm going to walk you through it. See, a lot of times what y'all like to do is y'all just like to go to the part that you like. You don't, the part that you really need to understand, the part that you really need to hear, you don't want that. So what I'm going to have y'all do is go to my YouTube page. I did 2 back-to-back videos on, it's called Lie to Me, Rev. What I don't do here, I don't lie to you. You get the truth. If you want somebody to lie to you, like I told y'all a long time ago, Candace Owens is right over there. That dude, Brandon Tatum, y'all love him to death. He's right over there. If you don't want the truth, I'm not the one to hang out with. Because I don't skip. I'm gonna take you from here, and I'm gonna break it completely down for you. And whatever parts you want, and that's the part that you want to just consume, that's cool with me. But at least I can say I gave you all the parts you need to form an opinion. Because right now, just like this here person here, the only opinion you got, she goes, ooh, no, my cousin is there, and they have. But did they tell you how they got here? Did they tell you how they worked their way in the system? Did they tell you what the Democrats did to get them into office here in Minnesota? Did they tell you what the Jewish community has done also to get them? Listen, people, the Somali community didn't just get off the boat and boom, all of this stuff happened. If I listen to y'all, that's what I would think. But that's not what happened. They had people who put them in places. There were people who put them. This is what I'm saying. If you don't live here, you don't understand a lot of what's going on. Jeff said, you guys literally forecast the future of New York. It's astonishing people aren't aware. You know what, Jeff? I like I was saying before, I think people are aware. I think people are just they're into this free. They see people who are getting rich all over the world, and they're going, well, if these people can get rich, then they should be able to do this and do that. And you also got to realize and understand now, we have been programmed. And I heard this all the way back when I was growing up. I'm a little older probably than you guys. But it's the rich people who make our world go around, right? That we're going to feed the rich, and it's going to trickle down. Right? That's what we've been told. At least since I started paying attention back with Ronald Reagan. Trickle down economics. Give the rich people all this stuff. Give Elon whatever he wants. Because you know what's going to happen? Everything then is going to trickle down. It's not trickling down, people. I can tell you that. I don't know how old you are, but I'm old enough to know what Ronald Reagan told us. And I can guarantee you, I can tell you firsthand, ain't nothing Ronald Reagan done has trickled down. It just has not happened. Ain't nothing these rich people done trickled down. It just happened. And we fell for it. We fell for it. One of the things, when I joined here in Minnesota, when I joined the Tea Party, and I did, I was Tea Party Tea Party, I was ready to go, bro. Ready to go. When I joined the Tea Party, that was one of the things that they talked about in the Tea Party. How the rich keeps getting rich, and this is what they said in the Tea Party. How the rich keep getting rich, and ain't nothing coming down to us. So let's go fight. I thought that's what was January 6th was about. I thought January 6th was, look at the rich people getting all of this here, so let's go attack our government to say, but come find out that's not what it was about.
We back, Reverend Tim.
Oh, okay. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So, no, I was just going over the trickle-down economics because somebody had said something here in our get up here about how, we feed the rich and we give the rich whatever they want, and then, it's going to trickle down to the poor people. I ain't never got to trickle down. It ain't never trickled down to me. Matter of fact, I didn't even get the trick.
Well, look, here's the interesting thing. You're talking about the state of Minnesota. Here again, we have the nonprofit industrial complex, doing its thing, right? Because the fact is that if you start a certain kind of nonprofit company whose purpose is certain kind of charitable work, then they don't have to report I think they have to report, the money they receive, but they don't have to report their donors, right? There's a donor reporting requirement that is relaxed in the case of certain charitable nonprofits, and so people figured out that this is a great way to launder political money and appear to be doing charitable work as well, and that's one of the things that happened in Minnesota, and not just, of course, Minnesota, it's elsewhere too. I think it was a young man named Elijah Schaefer who did some work in investigative work in Boston and the surrounding suburbs. And there's all kinds of nonprofits running these hotels, converted hotels, that are just supposed to be, providing housing for people who are not here legally. And he went to one of them, and he did a whole YouTube thing about it. He went to one of them, and he found like there's people. Again, these immigrants have cars. They bought cars. They've got free laundry. They've got free laundry folding services. They got free Ubers. They're getting free catering. These nonprofits are getting paid even for rooms that are not occupied. They're getting paid for meals that never get served. It's a giant money machine, And so, look, there's nothing wrong and everything right with charitable work. But the thing about charitable, it has to be really charitable, and it has to be transparent. If you have money and you want to use it to help someone in need, that's wonderful. But we can't have a situation where, dark money is flowing to these charities, and people are basically paying for their own displacement through their tax dollars. We can't have that, And by the way, we also can't have people come to this country and then turning around saying, "Okay, you can't be a part of this thing here." Get out.
Right.
Because look, we can't go. As Americans, people say, "Oh, well, this and that." Look, as an American, I can't go to some other country and just post up and start getting money from the government.
Thank you. Not that I know of.
I can't just go somewhere else. No. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, this is just basics, right? I wasn't really surprised to hear that the whole scandal blew up in Minnesota with the daycare centers weren't offering any daycare, and the Medicaid money that's fraudulently obtained,
traveling,
and people getting paid all this money, and they're sending it, doing travel, doing all this stuff, sending money back home. Again, if you're working and you're adding to the productivity of society, right? And then whatever work you do, and you take your money and you send part of it overseas, you're running. I do feel that way. If you do it with my money, no. No, you can't. No, that's not acceptable. That won't do. And talking about the racial angle, it's funny. I remember years ago when lefties started using the term "people of color." That wasn't always a thing. That was a thing that started happening. It really spread among lefties, almost as if someone had handed out a memo. Next thing you know, everybody and cousin was saying "people of color."
People of color.
And
That bull crap.
I never liked that term because I was like, well, okay, what are you trying to pull here?
Well, I stepped on it
because.
Well, I stepped on it here when the Democrats tried to pull, and then they turned around and said, "Okay, fine, we'll call you BIPOC." Remember?
Yeah. Right, exactly. Which is the same thing, which is where black identified people of color. Now, the whole thing of people of color is, first of all, as a matter of fact, everyone's a person of color, some color. That's one. Two, like I reject the idea that if they're using that as a political term, right, to talk about as if everyone who has some degree of melanin in their skin, together constitute a demographic, that's nonsense, right? In other words, if a Syrian comes here, okay, and I want him to line up with me politically in some kind of way, I can't just walk through and say, "Hey, look, melanin." I've got to persuade him. I've got to persuade him that his interests and mine line up in such a way where we should get together on X, Y, or Z. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then goes someone who comes from Kenya or Ghana or Somalia or wherever else. It's like he's not going to automatically line up with me. He's not one of. We are not together part of some political constituency merely because we both have melanin in our skin. That kind of thinking will not do. And now you see, right, that, of course, the lefties are saying, well, this is obvious white supremacy, it's racism, this is just like civil rights. Excuse me, no, it's not like civil rights. Please don't.
No. They tried.
We're not doing that.
Right.
At all.
They tried it here.
Okay,
They tried it here, Dexter. They tried the it's racist. They tried the civil rights and black people this and black they actually the Somalians. Here's what cracked me up about this whole thing. The Somalians actually start using the word black. Yeah. I said the same thing. I was like, your ass ain't no more black. You get out of here with that crap. Because what?
First of all, looking at the fact is that they don't look in their own country. They don't recognize that as a unit of political organization.
True.
That, I'm not even concerned about who is or who is not black, right? But I'm saying that stop implying that is a useful term of political organization. It is not, right? And if you're acting against it, what you're doing is acting against my interests. Then you're acting against my interests. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. Okay? And what you do doesn't necessarily line up with my interests just because we're the same color, because of work like that. So, we really need to start thinking in a very kind of hard-headed, cold-blooded, skeptical, detached way about political interests. Is it in the interests of the people who live in such and such a place to get priced out of such and such a place, merely because somebody decided that they want to bring a new demographic in to bump up their census numbers and maybe it land some more representatives in Congress? I would argue not. But that's the question. Race does not enter into it. It's interests, right? So that's the thing. And these days, when I hear people, about civil rights and this, if we talk about lefties talk about it, I, put my hand on my wallet. It's like, no, what's going on? And especially because, by the way, you and I know this, and our listeners know this too, is that there is one civil right that Democrats are absolutely not interested in preserving. Right? I mean, let's still talk about civil rights and this and that. Don't suggest to them that keeping and bearing arms is a civil right.
Oh, they don't. Not with black. They don't. They don't want to talk, especially the Democrats here, do not want to talk about firearms and black people.
No.
That's a no. That's a no. That's why they don't like me. I'm a reverend, a black man who carries a firearm, who talks about firearms, right? Who's in a club with firearms. That's why the Democrats here don't like me. That's why they don't talk to me.
Of course. Look, even we were talking about Zorman County earlier. I find it interesting that with all his talk about defunding the police, and of course you have to walk that back because you're trying to get elected. But you know, he did talk about it. It was on his mind. I think it never occurred to him. It never occurred to him was saying, "Well, listen, we need to make sure we protect the rights of people, especially in crime-ridden areas, to keep them their arms to defend themselves." You see what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
They would rather say they'd rather defund the police, right, and leave us defenseless than stand up for our civil right to defend ourselves and our homes and our families. That shows you that these people are not up to any good. These Democrats, they're just not.
That's just normal for them, though. That's normal for what. Well, here's the thing. Let me touch on this here real quick too, because one of the things I was explaining to you, Dexter, is how every immigrant group that has come into Minnesota, the same blueprint that the Somalians use, they've used that on other immigrant groups that came here. Everybody made money off of these immigrants. Again, the difference between everybody else and the Somalian community is they got greedy. They went into takeover mode. We're going to take over the blueprint that you gave us, and then we're just gonna run crazy. There's if you ever get an opportunity to go to YouTube, right? His name is Jason Lewis. He was a congressman here in Minnesota who in 2018 went to the House Congress there in Washington. And in 2018, Dexter, he testified about the Somali fraud, the daycares, the health centers, the traveling, the autism, all of this stuff. See, people act like this is new. None of this stuff is new. What people also don't understand, in 2018, everything you're hearing right now, Jason Lewis in front of Congress opened the door to this. Now watch this here. Another thing a lot of people who don't live in Minnesota don't realize is the Republican Party here in Minnesota has a fraud committee going as we speak, pulling out fraud, talking about the daycares, talking about all this stuff here in Minnesota had already been talked about. We don't even, matter of fact, they don't even hardly talk about it anymore because it had already been rehashed. Then what did the Republican Party do? They went and got this kid, Nick, whatever his name is, brought him into Minnesota, fed him a bunch of information, and sent him off to all these here daycares. Now, we knew the fraud was going on. We knew the Somalis Jason Lewis in 2018 told Congress when Donald Trump was president. Look it up, people. Anything I tell you, you can look it up. Anything I tell you, look this up right now. In 2018, matter of fact, go to my page. I posted his Jason Lewis. In 2018, Jason Lewis, under the administration of Donald Trump, had the DHS right there in Washington testifying on all of this stuff that's going on. You know what happened after that? Nothing. They let in 2018, they let these Somalis run completely wild. They went while. By 2020, they had more daycares, more facilities, more office that you could shake a stick at. By 2021, it was at a point where it was coming off the top. You know how you pour beer and you try to figure out how the spout just won't stop? By 2023, that's what was going on here in Minnesota. The whole 2024, the Republicans were, let's get a fraud committee together. What's this here? So the Republicans here, this is how weak the Republican Party here is in Minnesota. This is how weak they are. They put together a fraud committee asking all these questions, but they don't have no power. They have no subpoena power to pull anybody that has anything to do with the fraud. The lady, Amy Bach, the white woman who is at the top of this whole thing, she had 47 daycares. The white woman, 47. This is what they're not telling you. 47 daycares in her name. Look it up, people. See, y'all, this is what they don't tell you. It's all the brown people.
47.
47. Look her up. She is in jail right now for the Feed Your Future situation. $300 million. He said, Tim, this is a world. No, BKL, I know this is a worldwide problem. I understand that. I ain't talking about the world. I'm telling you what's coming out of Minnesota because it's hot right now in Minnesota.
We got to focus.
It's hot, right?
We're not talking about worldwide nothing.
Right. See, this no. This is what I'm talking about. No, this is what I'm talking about. When you give them the truth, they don't want the truth.
Right.
There's no reason for him to do that. But he did it because I was giving him the truth and he wanted me to shut up and try to stop and then pivot somewhere else. Not tonight, brother. If you don't want this, go bye-bye. See ya. No, I'm in that mood because this is the problem.
I don't pay taxes to the world
right.
government.
Right. My taxes is right here in Minnesota. They stole my tax money. They stole my tax money because the Democratic Party got greedy. Let me show you something else, Dexter. Watch this here. We went to the Republican Party and we said, hey, y'all need to look into these nonprofits in the black community. Y'all need to look at these nonprofits in the black community. And what had happened here in Minnesota, true story. So we get these white liberal women coming into the black community, taught these people, the so-called gun, nonviolent gun, all this gun crap.
Mm-hmm.
They came into the black community. They taught the black people who are running these fraudulent ass nonprofit, right? So they'll go and get a $50,000 grant. They'll write a grant for $50,000. They'll take $45,000, put it in their pocket, and these liberal white women who came into the community to teach them how to write these grants, they get $5,000. Seriously.
Wow.
That $5,000 will somehow go to the Democratic Party when they're running against. It happens so much. So, but my thing is this. When you hear, all of a sudden now we got some Republicans who are going to be in Washington testifying as if they didn't know this stuff was going on. When I've been talking to them, when I've been telling them. See, the problem is we can't get the Republican Party to come into the black community here in Minnesota. Cannot do it.
Right.
Cannot do it. So they don't know what's going on.
Well, look, this is what I keep complaining about. I mean, people who've heard my content before have heard me say this a million times. It's like the Republican Party likes to act as if cities don't matter. What what I keep saying is that the cities matter. And the cities matter, especially when we talk about populist conservatism, which populist conservatism is the most exciting thing that's happened in politics in my lifetime. The MAGA movement, I call it populist conservatism. Steve Bannon does too. Okay, but it's that this revolution is going to die a very early death unless conservatives get it in their heads that what happens in the cities matters. Okay, and so we shouldn't be surprised, by the way, that in the same cities where, and I've run the numbers, and you've heard me talk about this before, I've run the numbers, in the same cities where, the majority of people are disgusted with politics and just sit home and do not get involved.
Yeah, yeah.
That when you have this nonprofit, Democrat-run nonprofit industrial complex, right, laundering donations and buying votes, you shouldn't be surprised when Democrats win. You have to counter that, and I have to give the credit to the current president for at least, going in there and working seriously to break that money machine, right? But that's not enough. Not enough for him to do it from Washington. People have to step up and start running for office. People have to get involved. People have to start running the numbers, doing the research, figuring out where the money's going, and we have to act against this at the local and state level. And unfortunately, the Republican Party as a body is not really interested in this, except to the extent that it generates bad headlines for Democrats. And listen, I'm all for generating bad headlines for Democrats and embarrassing Democrats. I'm all for that. But that's not enough. And so, we're going to see in 2026, where this goes. I hear that the investigations in Minnesota are just the start. I hear they're also going to be looking at Massachusetts. They're going to be looking at the state of Illinois and some others. Great. New York, hopefully, right? Fantastic.
See, they've been.
Yeah, this is what we get.
Yeah, but they've been doing investigations here in Minnesota. They have closed down businesses here in Minnesota, and that's another thing a lot of people don't know about. They've closed down some of these daycares. They've stopped making payments to some of these healthcare facilities that they lie about, to some of this traveling crap that they got going on. The Somalis got so many different things going on here. It's just so hard to keep up with these people. I mean, it is literally, when I say it's like taking a cup and then open up the faucet and then breaking the top off the faucet. That's honestly what we got. But they were taught to do this stuff, right? There's a like I said, people don't understand that. There is a blueprint. There's a formula that had been used by a lot of churches and a lot of other people who was bringing these immigrants over here. What y'all have to understand, and listen to what I'm saying, the Somali community got greedy. They did not get off the plane and all of a sudden walk into a bank and put money in their pocket. This stuff had been going on for so long, it wasn't even funny. And they figured out how to get around the system. The very system that had been taking money from taxpayers way back before before 91 got here. The very system had been doing the same thing already. So my thought is, if we're going to break the system, go back to where it started. Go back and deal with the people who put this very system into play. But they don't want to do that. They want to start at the brown people, and they want to end at the brown people. They don't want to go to the people who started this. They don't want to go to the people who made money off of these people. They don't want to deal with the people who done already been been prosperous off of this money that these taxpayers has been giving these people. So if y'all think that the Somali community had walked into Minnesota, couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't drive, couldn't speak the language, and they started doing, come on, y'all can't be that stupid. No, I'm serious. You can't be that stupid. Somebody listen to me. Somebody taught them how to do this. Now, I just gave you an example of some liberal white women who literally came into North Minneapolis and look, before George Floyd, there was not one nonprofit talking about black gun violence. Not one. After George Floyd and after the shooting, after the killing of Fernando Castile, when y'all let that police officer off, and another black man got shot and killed in Minneapolis. After that, right now there's probably about 23 different nonprofits running around Minneapolis talking about guns up, love that, all is here, guns this and guns that, and we fight against guns. There's about 23 of them. Yeah, and they ain't done nothing. Listen to me, they done nothing. And they're getting $75,000 a pop.
Well, I mean,
hold on. Let me show you. Let me show you something else. There, Dexter.
Yeah.
So you ever heard of the broken window syndrome?
The broken window. Well, that's Mayor Giuliani read a couple of pages out of Jim Jacobs' book and decided to put that into action. Yeah.
Okay.
Broken windows theory.
So we got liberal white women coming into North Minneapolis, and if for people don't know, Minneapolis is the poorest area in Minnesota. Black folks, poorest area. So what they do is they come in and plant gardens. They get all of this NGO money for planting gardens. They get all of this money for planting trees along the boulevard, talking about the ozone. They get all of this money for putting big flower pots in trouble areas. They get all of this money. That's fraud, people. Y'all see, nobody told y'all about this stuff. Y'all don't hear about this. You don't hear about what other people, because it's not brown people. The Democratic Party made so much money off of this here phony crap with these white women coming.
So many campaigns.
It happened.
So many campaigns.
Right here in Minnesota. Right here. But they don't talk about that. They don't tell you about that. They don't tell you how much money that they pulled out of North Minneapolis off of these grant programs. They don't tell you about that. Well, let me do this here real quick, and then I'm gonna give you the floor. I'm gonna give you the floor right after this here, Dexter. So think about everything I just talked about. So Range Mind said this. Range Mind said you are hitting on a major issue that both parties are doing. He said we as citizens need to be paying attention to what our leadership is doing, and charity cannot come from the government. I disagree with you on that, Range.
That's right.
And I'm going to tell you. Hold on. I'm going to tell you why I disagree with you. Everybody know what I do. I help poor people. I help vets. I help homeless. I help black people. I help white people. I help anybody poor. My job, what I do, what God has given me the ability to do is to help poor people. And the only place that I can get the help that I need, Range, is from the government. Because I'm going to show you something. I've been on this here platform begging people to help me with a poor family. You know what I get, Range? Nothing. So if you're sitting here telling me that I can't go to the government, I should depend on the public to help me out. The public don't do that, Range. So now we got to put together all of these NGOs and people stealing money from the NGOs. So we do it to ourselves. Hey, go ahead and do that, Dexter, and I'll catch you on the backside.
All right.
The caller has hung up.
All right, Dexter's gonna plug up. I got to see how many more I got to ask Carl if he's cool with this. Hey, we always forget the Carl's on the Carl. If you don't know who Carl, if y'all don't know who Carl is on the backside of this here puppy, and Carl does all the reason most of you are here is because of Carl. Carl does a bunch of the work on the backside of this, and we always forget Carl is on the Carl is on the line also. Hey, so I wanted to say hi to Sadie, SADI, Timber_Turkey. Thank you very much for shouting us out. And you did say something, and I was going to say something to you. BKO asked the question, who is supposed to be auditing the NGOs? The state, bro. The state should be, and we got this lady, right? We got this lady who's supposed to be auditing these NGOs. But again, Sadie, thank you very much for reposting this here. Thank everybody who reposted this. So we so appreciate you. We got a lot of people in this place tonight. Holy smoke. Y'all must have really missed Dexter. It's funny, y'all don't ever show up when I do mine, but yet he comes on here and look at this here. No, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us on tonight. Carl, like I said, Carl hit me up and was like, hey, Dexter wants to get on. I was like, dude, hell yeah, because I haven't talked to the brother in a long time. And for those who've been following me for a long time, you notice my backdrop. Hold on, let me touch it so you can know it's real. My backdrop is different. So my wife surprised me for Christmas, because remember I had that purple thing up here with the blocks on, with the black blocks and stuff on it. She didn't like that. She didn't like that. So she had my moniker done for my and gave it to me for Christmas. So that's what I got for one of my Christmas presents. And I got this cool slushy. I got to tell you about the slushy machine. He said, from what I heard, the state audit on it audits country. I don't know, but this is what I know is anytime you as a nonprofit, BKO, mess up, Keith Ellison because I got a letter. I wish I had kept that letter. I don't know where it's at, but I got a letter when my first year at being and watch this. I'm not kidding. I wish I would. Hold on. I wish I'd have kept that letter so I can show you, which is pathetic to me. I got a letter from our Attorney General, Keith Ellison, because my wife skipped a line. I'm not kidding. My wife, our first year ever that we had our nonprofit called Shepherd's Works. But she skipped, we skipped a line because we didn't understand. Oh, hold on. Oh, we dropped. I hate when it happens, but he'll be back. But we skipped a line and we didn't know, because first year not being a nonprofit, we didn't understand a lot of stuff that we were supposed to do at the state. We tried to get everything right we possibly could. Keith Ellison sends me a letter and said I did not fill out something, right? And we had only pulled in that first year, we pulled in probably about less than $3,000. Listen to me. We pulled in less than none of this money that we pulled in came from the state. I've never received one dime from the state of Minnesota. He sends me a letter. And then come to find out all these nonprofits, all these here Somali nonprofits are literally raking Minnesota over the coal. And they didn't get, and nothing happens to them. They always mess with the little guy. They always mess with the little guy. So BKO, what I do know, the little that I do know when it comes to that, the state, my friend, keeps up with what you're doing and what you're supposed to turn in, especially if you are 501c. And for those who don't understand 501c, let me go over to 501c with you. And this is how a lot of these churches are allowed to get away with what they have been doing with these here immigrants and refugees that come here to Minnesota. If you got a 501c through a church do not, listen to me. If I get money from the state, I do not have to tell the state, you, or anybody else what I've done with that money. Nothing. I don't have to say a word to you. If my church received $1 million from the state, I can take that $1 million and spend it any way I want to as a church. And I don't have to report nothing. Oh, here we go. All right, man. Hold on. I got you.
Okay.
I got you. All right. Hey, Carl.
Yeah, my call had dropped. I don't know.
Oh, we dropped again. I was gonna ask Carl how long he got, but yo, what you guys need to understand is the reason these churches can get away with what they did here in Minnesota is because they don't have to report it. They don't. So what happens is, let's say they take Church A. This is what's going on in Minnesota, y'all. I'm gonna show you so y'all can. So at least you understand it. Well, like I said, whether you want the information or not, because usually that's not the information. Everybody always want the bad stuff, but when you getting true facts, true information, you let it go. But I'm gonna give it to you anyway. That's just what I do. So if I have a church and I go to the state of Minnesota and I said, you know what? There's a group over in this far off Pacific Island. They are refugees, and I want to bring them here to the state of Minnesota. And the state of Minnesota be like, how much money do you need to bring these people over here? Cool. I need $7-8 million. The state of Minnesota will write you out a check for $7 million. And then it only takes $1.2 million to bring the people over here. What happens to the rest of that money? That's how these people are able to go to a BMW shop on every Friday. That's how they're able to buy the buildings. Watch this here. Some of you may have seen this. Some of you. Okay, so Carl said that he's having some connection issues. So we're going to call Carl. Hold on one second. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Let's call Carl here.
All right, let me see if it works now.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, y'all both should be on the line now.
Hey, Carl.
Yep.
Before you go.
Yeah.
Are you cool? I don't, because I know we've been on this thing for about 2 hours now.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, all right. Just
While y'all talking, I'm playing with my son and talking to my wife. So
okay.
I'm good.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you much.
Okay.
I hear him in the background.
Say hey to Uncle Dexter and Uncle Tim.
Yes, sir.
You do. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting big, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, he's big.
Oh yeah, he is.
Well, how old is he now, Carl?
He is 10 months. It's going to be 11 months this month
Oh,
on the 25th, and then next month is his birthday.
and
It'll
it
be a
is.
year old.
Yeah, we got to get a baseball. We got to get a baseball glove in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that baseball. But I was.
Dolphins jersey.
See, there you go. Now you don't see he always got a. You know what? Text me your address. You're not putting that kid. You're not messing that kid's life up. He's better than that. I'm sending you a Packers jersey. You get it. He's better than that.
Wow.
He's gonna put him in a Dolphin. But Dexter, he's gonna put him in a Dolphin jersey. That's not right. That's not right. I'm calling child welfare. I'm calling child support. But no, I was.
You're ruining his life.
Yeah, exactly. I was going over how these churches get these immigrants over here, and how these churches are making this money, and a lot of people are not understanding this. Not a lot of people don't know how this stuff works over here in Minnesota, and that's why we're in the trouble that we're in with these people. The Somali people are like, hey, they're making money off of us. We need to figure out a way. We need to figure out a way to make money. That's exactly what happened, man. Dude said a Seahawks jersey. Seahawks jersey. But that's pretty much what was going on here. And now it's so far out of hand. I honestly, I mean, I know Tim Walz is saying this and everybody's saying that and Democrats are saying this. I don't know how we're going to get from up under this. I really don't.
Well, at least look. I mean, at least what you can do is put a stop to it. That's the first thing. Getting out from under is a separate question. But at least you can put a stop to it. I mean, that's a very good start to focus on. Putting a stop to it. Cut that money, shut these things down, start handing out indictments. Like that's, I'd be happy if I were a Minnesotan. I'd be happy with that as the first step. Shut it down and start handing out indictments and running trials and handing out prison terms, and then figure out how to get out from under it.
Yeah.
You gotta turn the money tap off first. That's it. So that's what I hope. That's what I hope happens this year. But again, as in all things, right? It's like people have to really. And not just Minnesotans, I mean Americans, right? We have to. You were saying in the previous segment, you were talking about what they, quote unquote, they won't tell you. But my point is that we have to kind of recover the spirit where we don't need, quote unquote, them to tell us anything. Because a lot of this information is publicly available, and all that's required is the interest and the will to run that down. Right, and then to share the information, and then to organize and network and get people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't wait for quote unquote them to tell you anything. We know that the nonprofit industrial complex has been doing all kinds of dirty since way back when.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and a lot of this information is available. That's the real thing about when I talk to people who have conspiracy theories. I'm like, look. And the thing about conspiracies, they're not necessary. The scandal is what is legal. The scandal is what you're allowed to do under the law as it stands. That's bad enough. People won't have to conspire. They just file the documents. You know what I'm saying? So we have to take more of an interest in what's going on. We have to realize that cynicism about politics only gets us so far. We have to get involved, because if we don't get involved, the activists and the crazy lefties are definitely going to get involved and stay involved, and they're going to be the ones who continue to drive these elections. send these dirty politicians right back to Congress or to the state house or to the city council or wherever they are. So that's, at the end of the day, that's just what's required, you know. And how long will you have to do this? How long will you have to be vigilant? How long will you have to? Not long, just the rest of your life. That's how. I mean, that's what it is. That is what it is, right? It's been going on for decades. You got to unwind it. It's going to take a while. Rebuilding this country is going to take a while.
Yeah.
Get comfortable. We're not going anywhere. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable that like I said, if the Somali community hadn't gotten greedy and they would have stayed up under the radar like everybody else, all the other immigrants and refugees who came here, we would have never known about this. Right? But you got buildings here where they got offices, and in this one building, right? Here's the thing, and here's another thing that gets me about these people, is they have everything anybody would want, right? They got their own mall, they got their own places where they can sell their own products and the whole nine. They have schools set up here in Minnesota because most of their kids can't read, right? So they got their own schools. They're buying up land like crazy here in Minnesota. There's a little blonde-haired woman that went down to Cedar Riverside, and she was telling this story about this bar it's been there since 1930 something, right on that corner. And at one time, and I went to this bar in 97 to watch a live band, and a great venue to watch a live band. But here's the deal, Dexter. That bar is right in the middle, literally in the middle of Little Mogadishu, where the Somali community is. And so this lady is telling this story, and I'm digging what she said until she got to the point to where she said that they were protesting because how loud, or how loud. That's not what happened. That's a lie. And this is the part that like I said, it gets me when people who don't live here listen to people who have nothing to do with Minnesota. That bar closed down because white people did not want to go down to Ward 6. Ward 6 is getting as bad as Ward 5. And because they were not having customers at this bar is the reason all of those bars and all of those buildings that were owned by white people in Cedar, on Cedar, right across from Little Mogadishu, is the reason they closed down. It wasn't about protesting. They didn't care. They didn't care. It was because of what was going on. It was the crime, and they was telling people, don't come down here no more. So white people was like, we're not going down there no more. You go down there on a Friday, Saturday night, there's nobody in that bar. That place is empty. That's what happened. She came in here, stood in front of that bar, and told a flat-out lie. Tell the truth. So when they brought in the Somalis here to Minnesota in 1991, like I said, they moved out the black community. All of those buildings that was down there on Cedar was owned by white people. All of them. Every single one. Today, once that bar sells, there will be none. The Somali community will own every building on Cedar. Every building. Not rent. They bought them.
There's another thing you can't do. You can't go to someone else's country and do. Just go in and start buying property without a.
That's what they did here, bro.
Who as a controlling interest partner. Yeah.
That's what they did here.
Yeah.
They just start buying. Yeah. They start buying everything in sight they could see and they can get their hands on. That's what they did here.
I mean, and listen, I'm not listen. And if you want to buy property, by all means, I'm not mad at people for buying property. But the thing is, you've got to use your own money. That's really the thing. If you're using my money to do it, I'm gonna feel a kind of way. I mean, that's just how that is. You know?
And nobody questioned. But nobody questioned where they was getting all this money from, Dexter.
I mean, people. Well, again, hopefully now, it's going to be, it's not going to be something that people can avoid. And again, I'm hoping that these investigations they're running are start of more investigations, more and criminal indictments, not just in Minnesota, but in several states across the union. That's my hope. Because this is not acceptable. Not acceptable.
No, but the white liberals, the white liberals here, literally put them in position for certain things to happen. The white liberals here are pathetic. They are so it is so bad. If you're not from Minnesota, I'm telling you, it is so bad. This group they are pathetic. They're flat out pathetic. Let me give you another one here, Dexter. Watch this. There's this place in Minnesota. Look it up. There's this place in Minnesota called Lakeville. I told y'all about these areas where what they'll do is white people move out way out in the burbs, way out in the rural area of Minnesota. This one of these places is called Lakeville. They moved the hell out there, put the houses prices at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. Black people can't move out there. Black people can't afford it. There was a while back, Lakeville was like 99% white folks. The Somali community found a way to buy land in Lakeville, and they're about to build one of the biggest mosques in the state of Minnesota in Lakeville. Not only that, watch this. You can look this up too. There's a Somali. They bought another plot of land, and they were going to build a Somali community in Lakeville, Minnesota. Look it up, people. They was going to build a Somali community in Lakeville, Minnesota. And all these Somalis gave this man, another Somali, all of this money, and he ripped them off. But the bottom line comes down to it is they're literally they're in position where they're buying land and making their own communities here in Minnesota. That's another thing they're not telling you, how things are happening here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's it. Well, like I said, if you're waiting for quote unquote them to tell you, you're gonna wait a long time. Again, we have to take an interest in these things as citizens. So we have to start running down the information, sharing information, and then making a ruckus. And that's it. Because there's really no alternative. So yeah, this is what it is. Well, I'm gonna have to cut this phone call short because I have another call.
Okay.
To make tonight before we run out of phone time.
Yep.
On this government run system. Government run monopoly phone system we have here. That's so delightful. But yeah, man, like I said, I'm happy that this scandal is breaking now. I know the information's been out there, but it's like this is breaking now, and that's a good thing. And let's face it, we have a DOJ in place now that's not going to let this stuff rest. So let's Again, let's hope we see some more investigations, and better yet, let's hope we see some criminal indictments get handed down.
Yeah. It's time for some people to start going to jail. That's just the bottom line.
Absolutely. You know, man, it was so good hanging out with you tonight.
Oh, dude, come on, right?
Time. Oh man,
come on.
It's like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, we had, like I said, we
back to the old days.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But hey, well, I definitely appreciate you, man. Just to let you know, everybody on here saying they appreciate you. Thank you very much. We love you, Dexter. Blah blah blah. That type stuff going on. So I am happy, bro, to hear from you. I just want you to know that.
Absolutely, and my thanks and blessings to all the people out there listening in, all the people who sent support, all the people who sent messages, sent me mail, sent me postcards. God bless you and thank you. And yeah, we're gonna see what kind of progress we can make in 2026.
2026, bro.
The good news is that that now there's at the beginning of 2025 there was a government there was a Department of Justice kind of Second Amendment task force. Now there's a permanent Second Amendment unit inside the DOJ. That's great, and they're really stepping it up. They're going after California. They're going after Hawaii. They're going after a bunch of states. And so I'm hoping that New York is in their crosshairs. Because that's another thing we have to worry about is these states don't respect the state governments that do not respect our rights under the laws of this land.
Yeah,
that's got to change. And so I hope we see some serious change in 2026.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, man. Totally.
Yeah.
I just real quick, I just wish we can get people from up under these parties. I just wish people who call themselves Republicans would just go, I don't want to deal with them anymore. I wish people who call themselves Democrats would say, I don't want to deal with them anymore. And we all can just go as a people. That I just one day, man, just one day, people will start seeing what we see. That it doesn't matter which party it is, we're gonna get screwed. So we might as well do it our own as a people. But you know what? Hey.
That's right.
Let me let you get off this thing. So I will like I said, if you're open next Sunday, man, let me know.
All right, sounds good, bro.
Appreciate you, Dex.
Best to you and the whole family.
Yes, sir.
And God bless you, brother.
God bless you, my friend.
You soon.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye now.
Yeah.
The caller has hung up.
All righty. Hey guys, there's Dexter right there. He's back. He's doing good. That's what I wanted to make sure, man, because we had not talked to Dexter in a while. I know Carl, the guy who, like I said, on the backside, who does all the work to get you guys to come here and hang out with us. I know he's been sick for a while. I am happy to say I can finally now say that I have been put back on the kidney dialysis register, the kidney foundation, the thing to get a kidney. They took me off because I had they closed down one hospital that I was at, and I had to switch over to another hospital. And then once I switched over when I went over to that hospital, they took me off the transplant list. And I had to go through all of this. Everything that I went through at this hospital, I had to do it at this hospital. And it took almost a year to go through all of the stuff that you have to do for a transplant, because I need a kidney. That's pretty much what's going on, right? And so because my kidneys do not work at all, literally, they don't work. I have to plug into this machine every night. But anyway, we got a call on Monday because I had it. Well, what happened was, so they was going to put me. So my medical review went to the board. So they got this board that all of these doctors sit on, and they review all of these cases of people who needs a kidney transplant. And so so this is stupid, but what happened was over at Abbott Hospital here in Minneapolis, I have on dead kidneys now, I have these cysts on my kidneys. So Abbott was like, we don't care, no big deal. I go over to HCMC, and then they make a big deal out of it. And that's what took me off of the transplant list, because they want to make sure that these cysts that I have on these dead kidneys are not cancerous. And I understand. I get it. I understand. But we didn't have to go through what we went through. But anyway, as of Monday, they put me back on the kidney transplant list. So that's a big thing going into the new year. We're happy about that because I was not on it. And if a kidney came up anytime during that 9 months period, I was not eligible for the new kidney. That's pretty much what went down, pretty much what happened. But again, I want people to understand, if you're not from Minnesota, seriously, everything you hear, and it's just like in your home state or where you're from, everything you hear everything is not true. Like I said, I don't know if y'all seen that video of that, like I said, that little white blonde woman who's standing in front of that bar talking about that the bar that they have to sell because they were being complained about. That's just not true. They sold the very reason every other white business owner on that block sold. People were not coming down there. The customers were not going to Ward 6. Look up Ward 6, people. Look it up. Look it up. Look up the crime in Ward 6. That's why they had to sell. It had nothing to do with people complaining about noise. Let me say something else that I've seen out there that people are telling you a lie. Because I've been down there, and I've shown people who swear up and down. I've stood down there half of the day on video. I got video of me right down there on Cedar, right across from the mosque. Oh, they're playing the call to prayer. They have the ordinance to do it. If the Somalis wanted to start tonight, call a prayer in the state of Minnesota, they got the ordinance that they don't do call a prayer, people. They don't. So when you see that and you hear the lies that been out there, they're just not doing it. They can. The mayor of this of Minneapolis were like, okay, whatever you want, you got it. No, seriously, that's what the white liberals here do. I'm not kidding. Whatever you guys want, it's yours. They bend over backwards for these people. And you wonder, you sit there and go, well, how did they get to where they're at? They literally bend over backwards for these people. Pretty much whatever they want, they get it. Oh, you want a big mall for your people? Here, take this building here. You want child care? Here, there you go. The Minneapolis police chief. Watch this. Go look it up again. If you're new here, if you have never heard me speak before, anything I say, I want you to go and look it up. Do some research. Watch this. So we was having problems with a lot of Middle Easterner, or wherever they're from, kids running around here acting a fool, doing stupid things, breaking in cars, carjacking, and everything. So literally, the police chief comes out and said, hey, these little badass kids you got, that's pretty much what he said. He didn't put it that way, but I'm paraphrasing. But he basically called him out. He basically said it was your kids. It was your kids. 2 days later, he was having a press conference saying he's sorry for telling the damn truth. True story. True story. He's got a press conference with all of them in the back, and he has to sit here and go, well, totally my fault. I misspoke. That kid that looks like you, that kid that lives in your neighborhood, that kid that has your last name, I wasn't talking about him. They made him walk back facts. They made him do it, and he did it. So when I know everybody's going, everything is going on in Minneapolis, everything's going on in Minnesota. How are these people able to do this stuff? Let me show you another thing. Look it up. Again, I'm not going to get on here and tell you something that you can't look up. I need you to look up St. Louis Park. And then I need you to do your research on St. Louis Park. No. I want you to do this. I want you to do this because if I told you, you'll be like, he's lying. But if you did the research yourself and found out, you'll be like, oh, holy smoke. Are you kidding? There's no way in the world. No, there is a way in the world. It happened. Ilhan Omar, y'all hate her to death. Trump hates her like no other. You know when she became popular? True story. When she first ran, when she held her little town halls, she had to have her little town halls in little bitty offices. True story. This is why I tell Trump, leave her alone. Don't say her name. After Trump attacked her, they had to put her in gymnasiums. That's how Trump made her popular here in Minnesota. Every time when Bernie Sanders came here to Minnesota for her, they had to put her in an arena, the auditorium. Every time Trump attacks her, they have to put her in a bigger space because that's how many people literally come out. I'm not kidding. You see every time you see one of them, like the march today. Was it today? Yeah, yes, today or yesterday, whenever it was. No, yesterday, Saturday. All them people that was out in the streets in 10-degree weather, marching about Venezuela getting knocked out and all this here. All them people, those are the people. Go look at the video. Those are the people who are usually at her events. Packed, standing room only. Fire marshal going, people, we got to move people out. But it did not happen until Trump attacked her. And then after that, she blew up here in Minnesota. Those are facts. That happened. Look, like I said, let me give you, I told you to look up St. Louis Park. And I'm just going to give you one fact about St. Louis Park. St. Louis Park was once upon a time, a heavy Jewish community. Heavy. I need you to look up the mayor of St. Louis Park. I need you to look up the mayor of St. Louis Park. Remember what I said? The Edina area, the St. Louis Park area, the Golden Valley area. That was heavy Jewish. Look it up. Look it up. Look up the mayor of St. Louis Park. Just that alone, your mouth should be dropping. Just the information I just gave you, your mouth should be dropping. And that, my friends, is all you need to know about the state of Minnesota. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you something else. Look up. Now you got St. Louis Park and you got Golden Valley. They call that Westonopolis. St. Louis Park and Golden Valley. They call it. That's like West Little Minneapolis. They call it Westonopolis. There's a reason. Go look it up. I'm just giving you. Thank you very much, BKO. Exactly what he just said. Now, BKO, if I told you at the beginning of this situation that St. Louis Park was a heavy, I'm talking heavy Jewish community, and you looked up that, would that shock you? Because they are what's driving Ilhan Omar. They are exactly what you got there, BKO. They are her biggest backers here in the state of Minnesota. Those are facts. Facts. They sit here and go, oh, that well, they got so many Somalis in the state of Minnesota, and that's how she got. No, it's not. No, it's not. If you was to come here and go to one of her town halls and you look around that room, your mouth would drop. Your mouth would drop. So when you hear that lie, oh, it's the Somalis voted her in office. That's a damn lie. I can tell you, I've been to many of her town halls and people who vote for her. And you look at where the votes are coming from. The votes are coming from South Minneapolis. Look up South Minneapolis. Look at what makes up South Minneapolis. They don't look like me. Rich people make up South Minneapolis. Down by the lakes. You got to have money to live by the lakes. That's who vote for her. So when people are talking about Minnesota and people are talking about Minneapolis and people are talking about places and all this here type of stuff, again, people, don't believe everything you see. Don't believe it. And I'm gonna put something else out there too. And the reason he said, what is wrong with these people? That's what we've been trying to find out. That's what we've been trying to find out, my brother. That, what you just said, is what we've been trying to find out. What the hell is wrong with these people? Because they're everywhere in Minnesota, literally. St. Cloud, we got this another place called St. Cloud. I wish I could have somebody from St. Cloud on here that tell you about St. Cloud. I go to St. Cloud every once in a while. I'm not up there that much, but it is another major city here in the state of Minnesota. They've taken over St. Cloud. Taken it over. Took it over. That's what's going on here in Minnesota. Those are facts, people. Those are facts. So, again, when you hear things about Minnesota, you need to step back for a second, take it with a grain of salt, look into it, and see if it's true or not. See if it's true or not. They have, again, like I said before, what they did all the fraud you see here in Minnesota, all the money you see that has gone in Minnesota, they got greedy. But this isn't new, people. What went on here is not new. If they would have kept their mouth shut, if they hadn't gotten so greedy, if they wasn't taking suitcases of cash out of here, and that's another thing. That's another thing when we come to this. Think about everybody who works at the airport. I'm just saying. Just saying. How are they able to literally leave here? Go listen to the Jason Lewis. Again, Jason Lewis said it in 2018 that they are leaving the MSP airport with suitcases of money, suitcases filled with money. In 2018, this was said. And nothing was done about it. There was so many red flags that happened here in Minnesota. Like I said, $900,000 for a $2 million house, and you're writing a check. That real estate agent should have been going, hey, take a look at this. The real estate agent should have been going, take a look at this. Didn't happen. You $70,000 car, you writing a check for it. That car dealership should have been going, hey, government, take a look at this. Didn't happen. Everybody got paid, people. They're buying these buildings, literally buying buildings, putting out gobs of cash on these buildings. Somebody should have been going, hey, look at this. Correct? It was red flags everywhere. But you know what? Because everybody was getting paid. Nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing. So that's why I sit there and I laugh and I go, y'all keep wanting to point the finger at the brown people. And this is the reason why I sit here and say, we're never going to get to the end of this. We're never going to get to the bottom of it. This is going to, so what's going to happen is right now we've got delegates from Minnesota that's up there in Washington, D.C., and they're going to testify on the fraud and everything that goes on here in Minnesota. Ain't nothing going to happen because they're not serious about this. They're not serious about this. They're not. The only way they're going to get serious about this, if they go in and do a deep clean on everybody who got money, every church, every nonprofit, every LLC that received any type of money from these here grants and the immigration resettlement program, anybody got money from them? But if you're just going after the brown people, nothing's gonna happen. No, watch. Think I'm joking, right? Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna change. Everybody gonna keep their money, and they're happy now. Amy Bach, look up Amy Bach. They're happy. They got this one white woman. This woman had 47 daycares under her name. 47. It wasn't just her. It goes up the ladder more than her. And I don't know why she's taking the fall for all of this. I don't. But she's going to. And we're not going to know who the top players are because they're not going to go and try to find out. What they're going to do is they're going to cut off all the money. Right? They're going to go, well, you can't have money, you can't have money, you can't have money. If your daycare got this violation, this violation, this violation. So they're going to go and they're going to clean up those violations, and then they're going to go back to the state and go, All of the violations are clean. Give me my $1.5 million. And the state's going to write them out a check in probably about a year or two after they get all the violations done. And they're going to write that check out for $1.5 million. That's what's going to happen. And then the next group is going to go, hey, that's all we have to do is put a couple of locks on the door and then fix the plumbing and we get our $1.5 million. Oh, we better get that done tomorrow. And it's just going to keep going. And then they're going to find another racket that they're going to, then probably about 6 years from now, we're going to be right back where we were at before. Watch. Those are facts. Because in 2018, if they would have took Jason Lewis serious in 2018, when he warned about the fraud, when he warned about the health care, when he warned about the traveling, when he warned about the autism, when he warned about the feeding people in 2018, if they would have took him serious then, we wouldn't be where we're at. But they didn't. They closed down a couple of daycares. They stopped feeding a few kids. They looked into the autism situation. The healthcare thing, only thing they did is scared a few people. They redid their whole sign, redid their whole office thing, and they went back into business. And then the daycare. We're right back at square. We're literally from 2018 to now. We are back at square one. And ain't nothing been done. Ain't nothing gonna be done. I get they gonna watch. They're gonna close a few things. Trump gonna watch this, and then I'm done. Then I'm out of here. I'm out of it because I gotta go plug up. It's 9:30. So this is what here's what's been cracking me up about everything that's going on that I see online. Right now, look it up again. Anything I say to you, I want you to look up because I don't want to give you false information. I want you to look up Operation Metro Surge. Right? Operation Metro Serve. What was Operation Metro Serve? If you can look that up real quick and tell me exactly what it was, because I want to show you something. Operation Metro Serve. So while you're looking that up, I'm going to tell you what it was or what it is or what it was supposed to be. When Donald Trump promised his base, and that's who it is, Somalian people, that's what he promised them. Period, point blank. Operation Metro Serve was Donald Trump was going to send in ICE into the metro and get all of these Somalian people out of here. That's what it was. And then they ran into a snag. Period. A lot of these Somalian people here in Minnesota, they're American citizens. They're American citizens. That's why he can't take any of them out of here. Now, they took some down to Brooklyn Park at the FBI facility. Yeah, they did. Look it up. It'll tell you. They took 12 people. 5 of them was Somali. 3 of them they had to let go because they were American citizens. 2 is waiting, and I guarantee you at the end of this, you're not going to hear about it, but they got to let them go too. That's what's going to happen. So, he's going to walk out of here with probably 1 Somali after he riled y'all up and got y'all happy. But because he couldn't get the Somalians, he put the dang on Mexican and Latinos. That community went, it was crazy, people. They were so desperate to get people. They sent ICE from Minneapolis all the way out to Chanhassen, Minnesota, to try to get 1 Mexican. And he was out there working on homes, building houses on a Saturday. And listen to me, in -5 degree weather, correct? Y'all, I'm sure y'all seen the videos where ice is all around. These two guys is climbing up this house that's halfway unfinished. They're up on the roof, an unfinished roof, and people are passing them blankets and coffee and whatever it takes to keep these dudes warm. One guy ended up leaving in the emergency because he had frostbite, and the other guy, ice finally left. They brought him down. They put him in one of the vehicles, and they convoyed him out of there. That happened right here in Minnesota. But because Donald Trump couldn't get all of these Somalis out of here, they went and started getting the Mexicans and Latinos. I did a live where I played the voicemail, right? Because people who don't know what I do is I help the poor, whether it's the vets, whether it's homeless people, anybody that even living in a house. That's what I do. That's what I do. And I'm known around Minneapolis as someone who is helping people. I got a voicemail, and I played it on my live from a Mexican pastor who I know very well, who asked me to be part of their drop-off service. And what it was all of the Mexicans were afraid to come out of their homes. So they had to get them food and things of that sort. And so he called me up and he's like, "Hey, Rev, can you help us? We just need you to drop something off. If you can donate this or donate that, we'll definitely appreciate it in the whole nine." But the Mexicans were not coming out of their homes. And then they was trying to figure out, how do we raise money? Because if they're not going to work, how are they going to pay their rent? So they was trying to figure out how to raise money to help some of these Mexicans get their rent paid because they was afraid that ICE is going to get them. They had the Mexican community in a wreck here. It was nuts. All because they could not get the Somalis. So ICE was like, we got to come out of Minnesota with something. We can't just go there and then leave empty-handed. Our base is going to be, they're going to be crazy. So they went after the Somalians. Went after the Mexicans and the Latinos. That happened right here. Look it up. Look it up yourself. All the videos. Who are the ones that they're chasing? Who are the ones that they're getting? And it's funny to me now. Everybody's talking about, well, he said he was going out. He said he was going after criminals. No, he didn't. He said Somalians. That's what he said. Look it up. Look it up. And now because he can't get them, that's what he has to do. He scared the crap out of these here. And I'm sitting here going, that's cool with me. Because if he wants to go down Lake Street, he want to send ICE down Lake Street, that's fine. Because what happens here in Minnesota is we got all of these people to come here because Minneapolis is a sanctuary city. But they come here and they stand down on Lake Street. They come here, they go to Home Depot. And just you go to Home Depot and the lot is full. Drive into Home Depot, especially if you're in a truck, all of a sudden you look, you got all of these people come running at you looking for a job and all this here type of stuff. Or you go down on Lake Street. They all over Lake Street. Or during the summer, they out selling fruit on the side of the road. Ain't never seen that. 2 years ago, you ain't never seen anybody selling anything on the side of the road. Last summer, oh my God, they were everywhere. And nobody say nothing to them. Nobody saying, hey, you need some type of special permit to be selling fruit, to be selling whatever you're selling on the side of the road. They ain't here. You don't need a food. You're supposed to have a food truck. All of this here. Minneapolis just let this stuff go. They don't care. They don't care. And it could have gotten worse if we didn't put Mayor Fry back in office, because we was about to have what New York has got. What the Democratic Socialist Party tried to take over, literally here in Minnesota, tried to take over the Democratic Party here in Minnesota. Oh, it was bad, man. It was bad. Not only that, we would have had a socialist Somali running the state of Minnesota. I mean, the biggest city in Minnesota. Are you out your damn mind? Have you lost your and you say, well, why? How did that happen, Rev? The white progressive. I keep telling y'all, these white progressives here, these white liberals here in Minnesota are the worst. Literally, y'all can say what you want, but if you want to come here and check it out for yourself, come on. They are the worst. You want to know why the Somalis is in the position they're in right now? Exactly what I told you. Those are facts, people. I'm not just saying that stuff just to say it. That is a fact. Period, point blank. The Minneapolis City Council is the joke of this state. They get paid more than any city council in the state of Minnesota, and they are a joke. Minneapolis in the 90s, I put this thing out tonight talking about the 90s, how awesome. In the 90s, my wife could go down to Minneapolis with her friends. They could bar hop all night long. I didn't care. I was cool. No problem. Now, my wife better not go down to Minneapolis by herself for nothing. She barely can go on Washington. Washington is North Loop. And for those who don't know what North Loop is, it's where all the rich white people live in condos. Those are facts. Look it up. That's what North Loop is. So if you want to go out and party and have a good time, you go over to North Loop, because that's where the police presence is heavy in North Loop. Very heavy in North Loop. Anywhere else, you'll get a police in probably about 45 minutes. But you call the police and say you're in North Loop, he right around the corner. They protect the money, people. Highland Hills, they get there. They hired, when the police was acting up, Highland Hills hired their own security. I'm not kidding, man. The rich people over there in that area, over by the lakes, they hired their own security when the police was acting up. Whole George Floyd went down. But that's what we deal with here. That's what we deal with. So when y'all when y'all see something and you go, think about what I told you about, what I talked about tonight. Because a lot of times it's just not true. It's just not true. So, anyway, there you have it, man. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming hanging out with us with Dexter. It does his soul and his mind good, and that's why we do that. Because we know, I mean, I don't know if you ever been in prison. I used to be a prison minister for 11 and a half years, and I would have to go into it, even though I knew I was coming out. Even though I knew I was coming, I was like, they wouldn't lock me in here. Even though I knew I was coming out, still, that when you hear them doors lock, oh my God, dude, that's all I can imagine how his mind is, knowing he's not coming out, knowing he has to be there. So what we try to do, what Carl and I try to do, and I appreciate Carl so much for what he has done also to keep Dexter's name out there. So what we try to do is just try to keep his mind, if you can just keep people talking, especially in that situation when 24 hours in a day, you're just literally sitting in this little bitty box. Like he said, that's what he does. He reads all the time. So I appreciate each and every one of you all for coming out and hanging out and giving our political prisoner opportunity to say something. Earlier tonight, I said something, and I'm going to stick by it. Even we can be racist to our own people. Now, the black judge that decided that Dexter could not use the Second Amendment is that was pathetic. But we're going to keep praying for him. We're going to stick there and stay with him, and we're going to try to get through this thing the best we can, right? Again, people, I appreciate you. I thank you very much. And if you're not doing anything, you can go on my YouTube page, and it's called Rip It Up. Let's Rip It Up with RevTChristopher. And I got some videos back there. Also, you can listen to a couple of those things. I did 2 good ones, I think, back-to-back nights. It's called Lie to Me, Rev. And what I was saying there is how people would believe a lie before they believe a truth. It's easy for me to lie to somebody and they go, okay, and be happy, than for me to tell you the truth and then you're not going to be happy. You'll be sad and upset. And that's the reason why I have always said, if we can get from up under these parties, because I've done both parties. The first time I ever voted, I voted for Ronald Reagan. First time ever voting. I'm a military brat. And what they used to teach us on the military is the Republicans take care of your daddy's paycheck. So we have to keep a Republican in office because they're good for the military. That's why I voted for Ronald Reagan. So my first vote was for that. And then over the years, I started getting away from them because I started seeing ugly things about them. And then I went over to the Democrats and tried them for a little bit, and I was like, this is crazy. Everything that I don't believe in, they're doing it. Everything, pretty much. So I went back to the Tea Party, and the Tea Party showed me exactly what Republicans are. So I left the Tea Party, and I have been on my own ever since. I think the Democrats suck, and the Republicans suck. There you go. So if you're a Republican and I just pissed you off, I don't give a damn. And if you're a Democrat and I just pissed you off, I don't give a damn. Period. But bottom line, neither side has ever really done anything for us. They haven't. You can sit there and you can lie to yourself if you want to. They have lied to you enough. They told you that the only thing we have to do is give rich people money, and all that money is going to come back to you, and you ain't got a damn dime. And then the Democrats sit there and tell, well, if you give me all your money, this is going to help out everybody, and everybody's going to see the growth, right? And it ain't never happened, right? So everybody then lied to you. They all lied to you. So whenever you guys want to come hang out with me, I'll definitely appreciate it. I've been out looking for candidates. I thought I had a couple candidates. I tried to help the Republican Party here in Minnesota, the last election. That was a joke. But anyway, I got to go. Catch me Monday morning. Catch me Monday about 7 o'clock. I'll be back. I got something to tell you again. Peace, fam. I'm out. Y'all have a good night. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Bye now.